Okay, so I want to create a tag that uses a book page as well as this piece of junk mail that came in with one of my packages. So I want to use this, and I want to do some coloring on it with watercolor. I've done it on some of my other projects before, so I'm going to try it on this. So I'm going to put a little bit of, this is clear gesso. That's what that is. And when I put that on my page, it just acts as a little protectant so that my page won't be absorbing so much water. And it also gives just a little bit of tooth. Gives a little bit of grit to the page so that it'll catch some of the color and the things that's happening to it. So I don't need a lot, I just need enough to kind of brush on over the surface. And since you can't really see it, I'm going to kind of pick it up and move it around. So to see if I can see any areas that I might have missed. If I did, it's certainly no big deal. So I want to also use this. I'm going to be cutting this up, this area right here. So I also want to do coloring over that. So hopefully this covered okay. Hopefully I had enough there to cover it. So I'm going to go ahead and wash my brush and dry my pages real quick. Okay, so that's dry. So now what I'm going to do is take some of my distress inks. I want to use, this book page is going to go in here. It's going to go right up here as a tag. So some of the colors in there are the turquoise. I'm going to be using this in there. So I'm going to grab that and some yellow and maybe a touch of pink. And I have two different pinks. So, I say so a lot, don't I? So, I'm going to put a little bit of water down on my mat. And I'm going to grab a paintbrush again. I'm going to start with this one. So, just smushing it down on the surface. And then I'm going to catch a little water. And then I'm just going to start moving it on my page, just depending on how bright I want it or don't want it. Nothing fancy, just enough to put color on there. Oh, I like how that's doing it. It's just so simple, but it makes such a difference. It takes just an ordinary, boring page and turns it into something fun with the watercolor. It's not really watercolor, it's distressing, but it works like watercolor. So I'm going to change my color. I want to put a little bit of yellow in there. So I'm going to put a yellow blob right there. I'm going to put wild honey too. This one's a little brighter yellow. Might be nice. This time I'm going to actually spray a little bit just directly on my inks. I'm going to pick a little bit up. Oh, see, that's nice. Get the yellow moving. And this one's definitely a brighter yellow. So, which means it's great, but I might want to use a little bit more water with it if I don't want it to be too bright. They both work great. Doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna kind of move around wherever. I'm not going over the blue very much, that teal color, because if I do, it's just going to change it to be more like a brown. So a little more color there. I want to just wipe off my brush a little bit again and then move in and grab some pink. Just some pink little highlights here and there. And look what that does. So I like that. You know, it doesn't pick up, I must say, as well on the camera as when you're just looking right here. You have a different feel than you do on the camera. So why don't I, before I erase all of that, put coloring on this. So I think I might want to do more predominantly the teal color. I'm using, actually, it's called Evergreen Bow. Bow? But it looks like teal to me, but they're calling it evergreen. And the yellows. The bright yellow is called Wild Honey. The lighter yellow is called Scattered Straw. One of the pinks is called Festive Berries, and the other one is Worn Lipstick. So let's pick up some of this. And, oh, yeah, I need more. Not bright enough on that. And on that side. So let me see. So I was thinking of just doing a solid color instead of a mixed color on those. That'll be good. Okay, so I don't need any more color, so I'm just going to wipe this off my surface, get a little bit more water, and put my brush through it. It's not a perfect cleaning, but it's enough to get me by for the moment without like taking too much time and ruining that, you know, creative flow. Okay. I'm going to take my heat gun and just dry it a little bit more. Okay. So now I'm going to... First I'm going to move these away. Get them out of the way. And now I want to cut this down. I'm not sure the exact size I want it yet, so I'm just going to cut a little past. Let's see. I'm going to try to cut it right there. Oh! My paper ripped. If it's not dry enough, you're going to be at risk of it ripping. So my paper probably wasn't dry enough, but that's okay. I don't need the full length because I'm going to be adding the junk mail. So I'm going to save these pieces. These pieces will be fabulous to work with for some other projects. So don't toss those. Okay, so I've got this going on. I want to cut this down. I see I might want to work with the color a little bit when I see my other tag. It does look a little bit more... Well, no, it looks okay. Never mind, forget what I said. But seeing the size of this tag kind of dictates the size of this tag. So I'm going to cut this one down a little bit more. By about... that much. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one basically in half. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to use a little bit on each side. Oh, you know, so I could either do it with some of the little white portions showing through, or I could do it where I have a more solid inking. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I got to take a look at it. So one on each side. Then I want to use one of these tops. So I'm going to cut one off of my ribbon card and cut around the rim. I just did a series on these. There's just so much you can do with them, and they're really quite fun. Okay, now I'm going to grab just a piece of scrap that I can glue that onto, because I want to make it just a little bit firmer. I think I have a clog here. No need to fear. Paper clip is here. I think I left the cap off it, I must confess. And so it got a little bit dried out. Okay, so put it right there. A little bit extra space. Put my cap back on and cut this out. I'm going to leave a rim for now. I don't know if I'm going to want a rim, but I'd rather have that extra space around it and then not use it cut it off than not have it. So I think I'm going to want a base for this also. I'm going to cut the corners, round them off. Well, maybe just the top ones actually. Just the top ones. Okay. So if I do a base for that, I could have something just kind of peeking out the side to pick up some of the coloring. And I could have a neutral. I could use a neutral like this, just kind of picking up on the coloring there. Or I could go with the black. So let me hold up to my page and just kind of see what I want. So if I did a neutral, it would pull in there and would kind of pull in the colors from there. So I think I'm just going to do that. Oh, but I do have this just kind of sitting there. I think that might be interesting. Doing a patterned paper. I think I want to do a pattern paper. I think I'm going to have to change my mind there. Let's see what I've got. Oh, if I do something like that, it'll pick up the colors of that rose. This rose that's by the kitty. It'll pick up that color and bring it in. So let me just kind of lay it behind this. It might be too much. It might just be kind of too loud. But let's just check it out. Yeah, it's a little bit too loud. So let me go back to this and just see what this looks like. I'm going to use this, but I'm going to use some distress ink to kind of alter the tone of this pattern paper. I want it a little bit more. I wanted it more saturated, I guess, because I want it to carry more color. So I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to describe what I'm doing. I don't know. All I know is that I know. So maybe partly what I'm trying to do is create more of a contrast between this and this, maybe. But it does also make me want to just kind of tone down the brightness of this. So I'm going to go over that a little bit. I'm also going to go over the edges. Let's take a look. Nope, I don't like it. Maybe just, what if I had just a tad of coloring on the bottom to pick up that coloring from there. And then maybe a tad of coloring. This is how I work. Tad of coloring at the top as well. I like that. Okay. This actually tells me that I can use this paper just as the backing and then just have the top and the bottom a little bit longer. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit under 3 1/4. 3 1/4. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab my glue, which I so perfectly put my cover on, and I'm going to glue it, but I'm going to leave room to tuck these other parts under as I work with them and figure out where I want them. So I've got that on there. Excuse the reach. Okay, this is the top, so maybe about there's where I'd like it. So I'm gonna glue that one up. I didn't want a ton of it sticking out, but I wanted enough to make a statement, and that does with this. So I've got my bottom part now. I can either do it with the white. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to first cut this top part off so it doesn't distract and take away from what I'm creating. I could have also used my cutting board on this. Okay. Let me clean up some of my area here. Okay. What do we have here? Like that. I can do it like that. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to cut off just a tad bit more of it, so I can slide it in more easily. And this bottom part I will cut off with my cutter. Right there. So now I want to put a little glue under this. Get that secured. And a little glue over here to secure the top. Got a little heavy-handed on my glue. Okay. Now, cut off that bottom. Oh, I could use that. I am going to, oops, my book was taking a run for it. Sliding off my ink. My Tim Holtz ink. Okay. I want that to go off at the top. I think I do want to cut just a sliver more off of that. Maybe like that. And then just kind of touch it up with my scissors if I need to. There, that's good. Then that's going to just kind of be peeking out. Like that. So let's see here. What do I want to do with the actual card area? Let me kind of see how it fits. I should have measured it. I should have measured it. It's a little bit long. That's okay though. It sticks up a little bit over the top, but that's not a big deal. Okay. So actually I like it just like that. I think it's just fun. But when I take it out, I feel like I do want something else in here. I'm not quite sure yet. I think I might want a word or something, or a picture. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to think about it. So after I turned off the camera and was putting everything away, I got inspired. So I ended up finishing this tag after all. Here's what it looks like inside. And when you take it out, here's the big reveal. Ta-da! This is my tag. So I ended up adding some extra paper here and here. It brought in the different colors. And then I put this card on it. The card says time to soar. Fit perfectly over the book page. And I just like how it turned out. So I hope you like it. And tune in later. I'll be doing a whole flip through of the book. But until then, I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.